Yes, welcome to Digital Works, and today's session we will see a good information and a brief information about document.getElementById. Document.getElementById. Right? In earlier sessions we have seen a good program how I can implement the JavaScript, right? But in today's class we will see particularly about what is the purpose of this document.getElementById. So if you observe carefully here, getElementById is a kind of a function. GetElementById is a kind of a function, or we can call it as a method, right? And the purpose of this particular getElementById is to retrieve some information about a particular ID which has defined in the HTML page, right? Suppose if I have defined some, if I want to validate a particular text box, that particular text box is holding some value. If I want to validate that particular text box, I need to first capture the ID of the text box. To capture the ID of the text box, I need to use this getElementById, right? So to use this getElementById, it is not possible directly to use getElementById in the JavaScript. We need to use this particular object called document, right? So very clear it is, by using the object document, and I can use the method getElementById. The necessity is to capture the ID of any kind of element which I have defined in the HTML page, right? And straight away we will see the basic example of a HTML web page using JavaScript. In the JavaScript, my intention is what is the role of document.getElementById, right? So we will see an example, and my example is I need to validate a particular text box whether it is holding some content or not, whether it is taking the input or not. And my conditions are, if that particular text box is empty, the browser need to tell to the user, you need to enter the text box. And if I enter the text box, if I enter some content and I will press the button, then it need to display whatever the content I have entered into my text box. Right? So very clearly, what I am going to do is I need to check the text box validation whether it is empty. If it is empty, I need to tell the user enter. If I have entered some content, I need to pop up a alert box and showing the what I have entered by using some kind of a text, right? So we'll see the coding part so that you will get a clear idea, right? And this is my code section, right? So if you observe carefully here, first of all I will remove my JavaScript part so that you will get a very good understand what is this. Yeah, I will increase the font size so that you will get a clear view, right? So I think okay, right? So here as usual HTML, and I use the header section, and I'm going to use the script part. So before going to script part, I simply define the body part. What is my body part? I use one heading tag and giving some alignment attribute, and the value is center, and I give my heading name is JavaScript checker, JScript checker, right? And here I straight away use one username, and here I straight away declare the text box input type is equal text and ID is equal to uname, right? So and after that I use the break. That means it simply tells that print the data in the next line. Whatever the element I have defined, it will be print in the next line my web page. And my next line is I simply straight away define the button, and here in my button I use on click. If I click, this particular function need to be called. This particular function need to be called, and my value is, the button name is login. Right? So very clearly it is showing, and I will simply save it, and I will show you the output, and it will be like this. Right? The jscript heading tag and username and a text box, and I use a login. So if you press login, there is no output. The reason is, here I need to define the function. Here I am calling the function, but I did not give any kind of definition. Right? That particular definition part need to given in the heading section under the script tag. Right? What is my functionality? If I click here, it need to show username need to be entered. That means I need to tell the user, please enter some name inside the box. If I entered suppose Sri like this, and if I press login, it need to tell welcome Mr. Sri. It need to tell welcome Mr. Sri. Right? So that is my coding part. I will see how I need to. So I simply press Control. Yes. So if you observe carefully, I use my scripting part. Sorry. Yes, I use my scripting part like this, right? So as usual, I start my script. So generally in the earlier editions, I can also write the code like this. Script type is equal to, so text JavaScript like this. In earlier editions we can write, but when coming to the HTML5, it defaultly considered that this is the JavaScript. So there is no need of writing any kind of this thing. So straight away we can write the script tag, and after that I need to end the script tag like this. And in the middle, I need to define one function. What is my function name? My function name is funChecker, and I define it is a function, and the function name is funChecker, and straight away open the brace, and here I declare one variable x. This particular x need to be captured the value, whatever the value I have entered in the text box, right? So x is equal to, here observe carefully what I am doing. I am using the object document, and this particular object is calling a function called getElementById. getElementById. Inside the getElementById, I am using the uname. So where I have declared this uname, I have declared the uname in the as an ID of a text box. That means whatever the username I need to type inside a text box, that particular text box ID is captured by using the uname. Right? You got it? And uname, and it is telling that dot value. That means whatever the value I have entered in text box, that need to be stored inside the x value. Right? So if I entered the value inside text box, that particular value will stored in the x, that which is defined in the script. That is, you can understand that this Java does not have any type of a data type. That means if I use where x is equal to 5, it simply consider that it is an integer. If I simply define where x is equal to some string, it considered as a string. So that's why there is no any kind of a data type. So right, so if I am going to define the condition. What is my condition? If x is equal to null, then I need to get an alert message. So window.alert is used for the alerting of the message. Right? What is the message? Please enter username. Suppose if he has entered, that is why this condition has been wrong, then else window.alert welcome Mr. And this, observe carefully, this is the concatenation operation which I can use in the script. So what is it? This welcome Mr. is concatenated with the x. What is the x value? What is the text I have entered in the text box? That particular value will be stored in the x. Right? So now we will see the output, and I will refresh once again, and I simply, here this is the username and there is no value, and I press login. So observe carefully what I am getting. Please enter username. This particular part has been executed. If x is equal to null, window.alert, please enter username. Right? So I press OK, and I press here Rahul, and I press here Rahul, and I sub and I press login. What I get? I got welcome Mr. Rahul. That means first it go to this particular condition. It is not satisfied. Then again, why it is not satisfied? I have entered some value. That's why it is not a null. So it is not a null. Then automatically enters to the else part. In the else part, what I given? I given window.alert welcome Mr. and this particular welcome Mr. need to be concatenated with the X value, right? So very simple. I think this is a very hint for those people who have tried in the registration page. In the registration page, if anything has been empty, I need to get some messages like please enter username, right? So we can apply the same technique in the registration section also, right? So I think everyone get clear about document.getElementById. The main use of document.getElementId is to capture the ID of a particular attribute, a particular tag or a particular text box which I have defined, right? So and one more thing we have to remember about the getElementId. When we are using getElementById function, you need to remember that the best thing is you need to remember only one thing is this getElementById can be accessed only by using the document.getElementById, right? And this is the most important thing. And another thing is, if there is no ID, that means if there is no, suppose if I define a text box, here, input type is equal to text. If there is no ID part, then I can't be able to use the getElementById. That is nothing but it's a dead C, right? These two are most important things. To use the getElementById, I need to use the document object. And if I need to use the document.getElementById, there should be ID part, must and should. If there is no ID part, then it's a waste of using document.getElementById, right? These 2 points are very much important to using the document.getElementById, right? I think everyone will be clear understood about this particular functionality, right? And if anyone got doubts, please write a comments. I can clear it, right? Thanks for watching. Goodbye.